Welcome to this analysis of the poem The Passionate Shepherd to His Love by Christopher Marlowe. In this poem, we'll be talking about its type and the meaning of the title and things that are within the poem. Welcome. So let's go right ahead. The poem is called The Passionate Shepherd to His Love, and we say that this is a pastoral poem. What is a pastoral poem? A pastoral poem is a poem that idealizes a life that is lived or experienced on the countryside, and that means all that we talk about in it and all that we see is nature. Anything and everything about rivers and trees and a natural environment, that is a pastoral poem. So just like we see in the title, the poem is called The Passionate Shepherd to His Love. So we expect to be reading something about a shepherd, and a shepherd is simply that person who looks after sheep, supervises them as they graze and feed in the fields. So this shepherd is passionate, as we can see. So just from the title, we can expect to be talking something about love, and that this shepherd is very passionate about what he is about to say. So Christopher Marlowe decides to use first person point of view, and that means that he will be talking in the words of I and me in the poem. Now, this poem uses rhyme. There is rhyme in this poem, end rhyme at the end of every line, and this type of rhyme is very regular, and it actually has a rhyme scheme. So when we look at the poem, first of all, the poem has 6 stanzas, and each of the stanzas has got 4 lines. Whenever 4 lines are combined, we will say these are quatrains. And because he rhymes every 2 lines in every stanza, for example, the first and the second, then we call this rhyming couplets. That means every pair of lines are rhyming. Each couplet introduces a new rhyme, and so we can say that the rhyme scheme of the poem is AA, BB, CC, DD, and so on. So you can continue in that order until the end of the poem. But for the first 4 lines, we can as well say that this is AA, BB, and for the second stanza, the next 4 lines is CC, DD, and so on. This poem as well uses sound devices. The most prominent one that we will talk about here is alliteration. And to remember, alliteration is a sound device that uses the initial sound in the words. So if words use the same sound at the beginning and they are within the same line, we say that is alliteration. And we have examples here of 2 sentences. There are more, but these are just examples. So the first line here, and we will all the pleasures prove. The sound that starts the word pleasures and prove is the same. That is alliteration. In the next line, the shepherd swains shall dance and sing. Here we find that there are 2 sets of alliteration. We have shepherds and shall, and we also have swains and sing. So that's another example of alliteration. The purpose of this alliteration is to make this poem very musical and very rhythmic, just like the poet intends it to be. Now, on another concept, this poem has got a refrain, and the refrain is a line that can be considered to be repeated at different points of the poem. And in this case, the line is, "Come live with me and be my love." This line is repeated from line 1. It's also appearing in line 20, and it's in line 24. Come live with me and be my love. After we read the poem, we'll actually realize that this line gives us an idea of what the theme of the poem is. This poem is just about to talk about love. So if you forget or if you don't remember what this poem is about, just remember this line, "Come live with me and be my love." And there you will have the theme of this poem. The tone of the poem, as we read and analyze, will discover that it is passionate. The shepherd is very passionate as he offers the things that he offers this lady, and is very passionate about asking her to come along and live with him. So the first stanza, this analysis that I've given you here The poem is in your book, I believe, or you can access the poem. Whatever you see here is just what the analysis of the poem is. It's not the poem. So go right ahead, refer to your poem as you look at these meanings of every stanza. So in the first stanza, we have the shepherd asking this lady, why don't you come and live with me, my love? Because once you come, we are going to enjoy so many beautiful things. And he goes on and lists all those things in the lines in the first stanza and says, we'll see the valleys, the groves, the hills, the fields, and we'll enjoy the view of the steep mountains. In the second stanza, he goes on and says that once you're here, if you join me, we're going to be observing and sitting on the rocks as we watch the sheep feeding. And we'll also watch the rivers as they flow with their nice sound as they're shallow. We'll also be listening to the sweet sounds of the birds as they sing. As we listen to the sounds of the rivers, we'll be listening to the sounds of the birds. He moves on in the third stanza and he starts listing the things that he will make for her. For example, in this stanza, we understand that he's going to make for her a bed of roses. He's also going to make for her 1,000 sweet-smelling flowers. He will make for her a cup of flowers, a dress that is made with myrtle and very well decorated. And in the fourth stanza, he says that he's going to make for her a gown, and this gown is going to be made of wool. Of course, this wool is what he will have made out of the lambs, from shearing the lambs, and he will make wool out of it. He will also make her slippers so that when the seasons are cold, she will have something to wear. And they will be decorated with pure gold. At this point, I want you to note that this is exaggeration. This is just an addition to tell you that the poet here a bit exaggerates and shows that he's actually willing to go all the way to make buckles of the slippers with pure gold. It is a sort of an exaggeration, not necessarily true. In the fifth stanza, he is going to make her a belt that is made of straw and the ivy birds, and the clasps of these belts will be made of corals, and the studs will be made of amber. So he ends this line with that if you actually like the things that I've offered you, if they sound good, if the things that I've offered you sound good, please come and live with me. In the sixth stanza, and this is the last stanza, he tells her that, I'm going to get the boys who will come and dance for you. During the month of spring and the weather is going to be beautiful, I will have these boys come and, entertain you and sing for you and dance for you as well. And finally, here when he says, if all these things impress you and make you happy, then come live with me and be my love. I want you to note that he uses this season of May, for instance, where he says that the boys will come during this season. It is not necessarily the month of May. It is just a month where it is beautiful and that nature is returning to its beauty because winter is over. Take your notes from here. Pause at every point so that you can write down what you understand from this line, and just to think about what is coming up next. Just think about what the nymph, probably this lady who's been offered these things, will say to this response. So you have an opinion point here. Just pause and think about it. Do you think the nymph accepts what the shepherd has offered? Do you think the nymph comes along and joins the shepherd to live with him? That is it for now. Thank you and goodbye.